16. If you're working a job, you need to identify all the ways in which you could do your job better. A lot of people work their jobs and they don't try very hard. We've discussed this already about how lazy employees are. If you're an employee right now, you're probably lazy. So, you're working a job, you're not trying your best. Make a list of all the ways you could improve how you do your job. You could work faster, you can make more phone calls, you could care more about X, Y, Z. You could do the entire 9 hours without super long bathroom breaks where you disappear to sit on your phone, whatever. Make a list of all the ways you could improve the way you do your job.
So I did an audio lesson in Arno About. It's lesson 3, but the most important skill for this century, creative problem solving. What he's telling you to do is actually really important, and it should be a built-in part of your day. A lot of people prefer to do it at the beginning of the day, whatever works for you, but you need to pick some time to work on whatever problem is bothering you, vexing you. You make the list, like how do I get there? What are ways for me to get more clients, ways for me to get more money, ways for me to get more fit, whatever you're trying to achieve. Super important. And what he's doing here is jump-starting your brain and getting you to use it, actually, instead of outsourcing your thinking.
Then ask yourself why you don't do it. Why don't you work at 100% of your capacity? And the main reason is probably going to be because you're not incentivized to do so. I don't know about your job. Obviously, this is the Hustlers University. We're going to teach you how to make money outside of your job. But if you're in a job right now and the fastest way you can do to get a pay rise or increase your money is literally to sit there and think, I need X, Y, Z to be incentivized to do this job properly. I think you'll be surprised how often you can go into your managing director or your, especially for smaller companies, your boss's office and say, look, here's the deal. I want to do X, Y, Z, X, Y, Z, X, Y, Z. I think it's going to make us a lot of money. I just want to say, if I'm right and it pulls off, let me prove myself first. Let me make the money first. But if the money starts rolling in, I just want to know I'm going to be rewarded for it.
Again, we covered this before in other installments, but I want to direct your attention to it. What he's doing, he put together an offer, he made it risk-free, and he laid it on the table. This happens again and again and again across these lessons. And it's not specifically called out by Tate, but you have to pick it up. So he says, I want to do X, Y, Z. It should increase revenue. If it does, can I get this reward? Can I share in the spoils, basically? But this is a risk-free offer for the guy that you're working for. So please notice, because this is a recurring theme. He's very good at that.
They'll say, oh, okay. They'll call your bluff because you promised them money. When you go in there and you say that, all you've done is say, look, I want to make you some money. You say that to them, let the money start coming in, and they'll often reward you for it. If you're not doing your job to the best of your ability, then you need to be doing something else. And if you're not doing the job to the best of your ability, you need to be using that time to start something on the side. So my work history, as you can tell, is very varied. For a long period of time, I worked, when I say long, about a year, I worked for a company called N2. N2 sold web advertising. It sold advertising, websites, SEO, Google AdWords, all that kind of thing. So we would call up companies and convince them they need a new website, or they need SEO, or Google AdWords, or hosting, blah, blah, blah. It was like an online advertising agency. This is a few years ago. At the same time I was working there, this is the company when I read Wikipedia three days a week. At the same time I was working there, I was pissed off that I wasn't a business owner anymore. I kept remembering T2 and all the mistakes I made at T2, and I wanted to start a television advertising agency again, but I couldn't afford to quit this job, and I also knew that it was going to be very, very hard to sell television advertising like I did a few years before, because this was, when I was selling it before, was just before the big credit crunch. Remember that? Now we're in the height of the credit crunch, so it's going to be very difficult to get money out of people. So I decided to start a company anyway. I started a television advertising company called Vixels. I looked at the word pixels, I changed the P to a V. Doesn't make any sense. Vixels television advertising, and what I would do is, my brother would pitch television from home, and I would still work my normal job, and in between not doing any work at my normal job, I'd provide leads and fulfill leads, etc., etc. So not only am I working a normal job, I had another company on the side at the same time. And what was good about this is if I went to a company to give them a website and it was a particularly big company and a company I think could afford TV, then I'd pitch them for Vixels on the side, or tell Tristan to call them and pitch them. So simultaneously as doing my job, I was running another company.
Yeah, an important point. There's no shame in having a job, taking a job, being in between companies, even being in between jobs. That's all fine. As long as up here, this is not your natural state of being. So maybe you've had a streak of bad luck, or maybe you're getting everything in a row and you're working a job now and it's not the job that you see yourself doing for the rest of your life. That's absolutely fine. But up here, that needs to be very clear. Like, you can't be working at McDonald's, for example, and be resigned to that job forever. Like, this is going to be my future. If that's the case, well, then you're an NPC. Then you're basically dead. Well, that's not the way. But if you're there and you're doing your job, you're doing what's required of you, but up here, you're constantly thinking about business, how to get ahead, how to hustle, how to make your life better, that's absolutely fine. There's no shame in that at all.
Now, VXLs never really took off. I landed 3 or 4 deals. I maybe did 200-300 grand, which isn't a lot of money to me now, but 200 or 300 grand is a lot of money to most people in a year of a company. So instead of just sitting at my job doing absolutely nothing, I was doing a lot of nothing. I was reading Wikipedia, but I was also doing as much as I could for my own company on the side. So if you have a job right now, don't quit your job. People say to me all the time, "Oh, I need to quit my job." No, you don't. You don't need to quit your job. I guarantee there's enough time in the day for you to work your job and work your side hustle. Guaranteed, because you're lazy and you don't do shit at your job anyway. You have all the time you need to continue with your job, get your side hustle rolling. When your hustle's rolling and you know the money's coming in, then quit. You don't need to quit your job at the same time. So people say it to me all the time, "Well, should I quit my job?" And the answer is often no. You don't need to quit your job until you've been through and you've sorted out all the things you've already been over so far in this university. Is money coming in? Why would you quit your job? Is money coming in? Yes or no? No. Well, then why would you quit your job? I showed you already how easy it is to get money flowing in. Get the site online, bang, 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 get the money in, even if none of the fulfillment is ready. So if money's not coming in, you don't need to quit your job. No, you need to do everything at the same time. You can get money rolling in first before you consider ducking out of a job, sitting around at home, and being broke. So that's a very important key thing about jobs, because I get asked that all the time.
The main thing that you need to take away from this is that it's important to take up that skill of creative problem solving and to be someone that is constantly, again, we had the lesson about the money lens, looking at the world through a lens of money. This is the same thing. Like, you're looking at the world and asking yourself, how can I do this quicker, better, faster, easier? How can I free up time? How can I get in more revenue? All of those things require you to use this sponge, this gray sponge that's in your skull. Most people don't use it. I suggest you actually use that thing, because that's what it's for. And what your brain is really good at is solving problems, but you have to force it to do it. And Tate is incredible at that. You've seen him do it off the cuff multiple times across these series, and you're going to see it many more times. But just coming up with a creative solution to a problem, which is risk-free for the person asking or the person that you ask. It rewards you when it works out, and there's very little risk if it doesn't work out. And again, he harkens back to the beginning of the lesson. Money needs to be coming in. It's pretty easy to test stuff on a small scale. That's all fine. But don't get caught up in, quitting your job and getting legal and all of that sort of stuff. You can test stuff pretty easily. You can have money coming in. Even if it's a little money, that doesn't matter. Like, you need to test it on a small scale. That's absolutely fine. But something needs to be happening before you say, yeah, let me, quit my job and start my beach bar with surfers and homeless people running around. That's going to be my new future. I'm going to sell beer to homeless people on the beach, and I'm pretty sure this is going to work because I had a dream. That's not the way you want to do it, man. You want to test small and actually test the viability of an idea. And maybe it's not the best idea to sell stuff to homeless people. Do things quickly, do things at the same time. That's absolutely fine. I'm not talking about multitasking. I'm talking about taking on more tasks than only one, because you can handle it. Trust me. Stress is great. Stress is awesome. Stress is the elixir of life. Embrace stress. Embrace the suck. It's awesome.